Today the church celebrates the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, who is best known as the patron saint of animals. Each year on his feast day, the day that the church remembers him, it's our tradition to bless the animals. Animals in all sizes and types and shapes, dogs and cats and birds, even spiders, even snakes, even your sweet stuffed little animals. This is Little Husky. I've had her since I was a little girl. This is my dog Spot. He's a standard poodle, almost a year old, so he's still a playful puppy. In receiving a blessing, we are told that we are holy and beloved by God. And in blessing the animals, we recognize that they too are creatures of God and very beloved as well. You and me and all the other people in the world, as well as dogs and cats and skunks and tigers, even snakes, were created to glorify and to give pleasure to God, the God and creator of all. God gave people the task of caring for all of creation, its creatures and the earth, and especially one another. St. Francis was born in 1182. That's 838 years ago. His father was a rich merchant. St. Francis grew up and began to notice the poor and the sick people in the streets, and he decided to give up everything that he had and devote his life to helping them. There are many stories about his special relationship with animals. There's a story about him preaching to a huge flock of birds in the woods. They perched in the trees and on the ground listening carefully to his sermon. When he was finished, he blessed them, and they flew away as if they were going to bring the good news of God's love everywhere. I'd like to read to you a story that is one of the most famous about St. Francis. There was a wolf that was terrorizing the people of Gubbio, Italy. When Francis was staying in that town, he learned of the wolf that was very hungry. He was eating the animals in the town. When people tried to stop him, he would hurt them too. Villagers became afraid to leave the city walls. Francis decided to go out and meet the wolf. The townspeople were very afraid of him, but Francis insisted that God would take care of him. He walked outside the city gate, and suddenly the wolf charged out of the woods. Francis made the sign of the cross toward it, and the power of God caused the wolf to slow down. Then Francis called out, "Come to me, brother wolf. In the name of Christ, I order you not to hurt anyone." At that moment, the wolf lowered its head and lay down at St. Francis' feet like a puppy dog. St. Francis explained to the wolf that he had been terrorizing the people and their animals who were made in the image of God. And that led the wolf into the town to make peace to the townspeople. By the time they got to the town square, everyone was there. With the wolf at his side, St. Francis gave the town a sermon on the wondrous and fearful love of God, calling them to repent from all their sins. Then he offered the townspeople peace on behalf of the wolf. The townspeople promised in a loud voice that they would feed the wolf if it would not hurt them and their animals. The wolf placed its paw in St. Francis' hand as a sign of that promise. From that day on, the people and the wolf kept the promises that they had made, and the wolf's peaceful ways were a living reminder to them of the wonders and the patience and the virtues and the holiness of God. So let's give thanks today to God for all the creatures on the feast of St. Francis, and know that God's gracious love rests on us all, on all creatures, great and small.